Protecting murderers?
They were getting health care. And this
They're getting this done?
Like, I happen to have stuff ready to go in my car. So, that's why it's
So you're fine with protecting murderers? Okay. You know what this is. We don't need to debate about that. You know that.
So what, do you think murderers still don't get human rights?
Well, also, it's not murder.
Actually, murderers get the death penalty.
It's not murder.
Like, most abortions happen at a time where it's a clump of cells.
You're a clump of cells. You're an older clump of cells.
Yeah, and I'm a clump of cells that has choice.
One at a time, because it's when you have a megaphone, it's kind of hard to hear y'all.
One at a time, okay. Claimed time. Do you want to get into biology?
Not if you're going to deny it.
She's getting a PhD, my guy, so if we're getting into biology, she's going to win.
No, not if she denies it. It doesn't matter if you have a PhD. A lot of people, that they deny what they know to be obvious.
Yeah, what you know to be obvious is not what's real.
Teach the subject, so it does matter what I say and the fact that I'm getting a PhD.
Okay, well, I've had people with science degrees before that denied basic human biology.
What are your qualifications for being able to tell me about basic human biology?
Well, I can read, I have a brain, I have common sense, and I can research things. I don't need a college degree to be able to...
Brain, common sense, research things, so you Google, and you think that makes you an expert?
No.
No.
Nothing about Google. But, I mean, science has already settled this debate as whether these are human beings or not from the moment of fertilization, so we don't need to talk about that.
That's not settled.
Yeah, it is. People just deny it, though.
That's not even pregnancy.
If people deny it, it's not settled. That's how settled works. Do you know what words mean?
No, it's factual, but people deny facts because they love their sin and they hate.
You also think that God being real is a fact, so excuse me if I think your invisible sky daddy can go fuck himself.
Well, I invite you to try to tell him that when you stand before him, but you won't be
I
able to.
absolutely will. If God's real, I will tell him to go fuck himself.
Yeah, your mouth will be closed, and it'll give you what you want, which I don't want for you. I don't want any of you to die and go to hell. Right? We don't want you.
I would rather go to hell than be in heaven with people like you, straight up, 100%. Torture me for eternity.
God will give you what you want then, and I don't. But we want you to join us in heaven. But if that's what you want, God will give it to you, and it'll be too late.
Fundamentally, want to change everything about who we are. Like you're already.
Right. You don't want us to join you in heaven. You want other people like you to join you in heaven. If you want us to join you in heaven, you would accept us the way we are. See, that's the whole thing about Christianity, is they say that Jesus accepts you for who you are, but that comes with a lot of fucking asterisks on it, where Jesus accepts you for who you are with like 10 or 15,000 changes.
Well, you gotta repent and come to Him.
Repent for what, dude? For what? For being a human? For being born on this planet?
We didn't sign up for that.
I did not sign up for this, my guy.
We all have rebelled against the holy God.
A holy God?
We all
A
have
holy
sinned.
God. Have you read the Old Testament?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. He orders the murder of a bunch of people, including babies. Did you miss that part where he orders the murder of babies?
Well,
In Psalms where it says, the great Lord your God will dash those babies' heads against the rock? You missed that part?
So what's wrong with that in your worldview? You support doing that to babies in the womb.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why are you allowed to do it, but God's not allowed to do it?
You follow this book, and he's quoting something from the book. So why, don't turn it off into another thing entirely.
I'm not. You're talking about, you're trying to condemn God for killing babies, but yet you support killing.
Yeah, God's a baby killer.
But yeah,
I'm just trying to be like God. Isn't that the point? Isn't the point to be like God? Don't you want to be like Jesus?
God has the authority and the right to take human lives. We don't. We don't have the right to do
Yeah, that's a real fucked up argument, my guy.
Coming from a God.
If morality is black and white,
It is.
then God can go fuck himself on that point.
And God cares enough about you that He's got us here today to...
God does not give a shit about me.
Oh, if He didn't...
I am a tiny ant in the speck of a billion star universe. If God gave a shit, why do people die of cancer? And I know you're going to say, oh, it's the fall, blah, 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 blah. But God's not real, so it doesn't matter.
The fact that you're... Every breath in your body, every beating of your heart, if God didn't care about you, you drop dead right now. He would just...
So you're telling me that... Well, also, if that's how that works, then God just stops caring about people and they die? So every old person just dies because God gives up on them? Is that why every old person stops dying?
We all have an appointed time to meet God.
But when he stops caring about you, that's your appointed time.
No, I'm saying that he gives you those things as blessings, as gifts, and then you use it to blaspheme his holy name.
Wait, so you were saying that we are alive today, breathing today, because God cares about us, and if he didn't, we would drop dead. And then you're saying we're blaspheming his gifts, but that means he would then be condoning what we are doing right now.
It gives you the free will to make certain choices.
Right, so free will is an illusion. Right? So, like, everything...
If that was true, you'd be a robot. We'd all be robots.
Yeah, we kind of are biological robots. Like, you're functioning.
No.
You've got, like, neural networks and stuff? Computers. Brains are just carbon-based computers.
We're real smart for robots, but we're still kind of just robots, my guy.
No, if we were all robots, then God could have us worshiping him, without even...
But isn't that what you want anyway?
What?
Because you're basically saying, like, either do this now or suffer forever. Like, that's not really...
That's not really a choice. That's a fake choice. If somebody puts a gun to your head and says, do this or I'll shoot you, you do what they say or you get shot. It's not a choice. It's forced coercion and it's abuse. Your God can go fuck himself.
You're making a choice right now, right? You're not coming to God.
There's no God to come to.
Yes, there is, and you know it. That's like trying to convince you that this building has a builder when you deny this building has a builder. That's common sense.
Yeah, but here's the thing, my guy. This is vastly different. A building and the universe. See, this is the problem with humans. We think that everything is about us and that everything is like us, and that includes things that come out of nothing. And it's just not true.
So you're going to deny this building has a builder?
No, because the records are there, and...
Have you read them? Have you seen them? Do you know who built this building? Have you ever seen them?
You have to physically be there to know that it happened, because you weren't there.
I came out of my mom's pussy. Do you need to meet her to know that I'm here and I have a mother?
So you don't know who built this building, but you assume this building has a builder, but you're going to assume that creation doesn't have a creator.
So why do we have
it doesn't
to
make any
worship
sense.
a builder?
Who created the creator? It's a circular logic. You end up at the same point. If something can come from nothing, that can be either God or the universe or both. So you're just, it's fucking not, God's not real.
You say that because you love your sin.
I love my sin. What do I do? What do I do? How do I sin? Tell me what I do.
People say there is no God because they don't want to give an account to him for their sins. So they think, well, if I say there is no God, then I can live however the way I want to live.
In her career, and then take care of your dog.
What do you think?
That's true. Yeah. I'm a really bad person.
You have, like, really great dogs.
Yeah, I'm like the worst person you'll ever meet. I have a lot of sin. I'm very dirty. I'm a dirty, dirty boy. Dirty, dirty boy.
Yes, you are. But Jesus Christ has enough mercy and grace for you, as he had for us.
He's dead. He died 2,000 years ago.
Ah, but he rose from the dead.
Did he? Were you there?
Yeah, did you see it? Did you meet him?
How do you know he died 2,000 years ago if you weren't there?
The historical records. Well, actually, we don't have a lot of historical records about Jesus himself.
Actually,
we have
do.
mostly second-hand accounts and third-hand accounts. Very few second-hand accounts. And most of the supporting documentation is mostly written by people who, honestly, if they were writing history books today, we would call it fan fiction and not history. So your Bible's fan fiction, and it's a little bit of gore porn, bud. That's okay. I lived outside for 6 months. I was homeless, and your God did nothing to help me, so he can go fuck himself. Actually, it's not real, so it doesn't matter. At that point, I was a Christian, so...
Professing?
Yeah, he worked for churches. Aren't you like a youth pastor at the time?
Yeah. I wrote for Bible studies for several churches around here. Did a whole lot.
So what convinced you that you used to believe in God, right?
Yeah.
So well, but I didn't know this. Like he was a youth pastor and everything. So what convinced you that there was no God?
I read enough of the Bible.
So what part of the Bible
It's pretty convincing.
So what part of the Bible told you that there is no God? Convinced you?
All of it.
I have read all of it. So what?
Oh wait, no, sorry. He read it in the original Greek. It was specific.
Oh yeah, I did read it in the original Greek.
And
So what-
how that was like mistranslated into the English.
In case it was unclear, my philosophy degree, I got it to become an actual pastor, and getting that degree made me go, no.
So okay, so again, what convinced you that what part of the Bible you said the Bible convinced you there is no God? I'm sure you
Again,
did.
all of it.
All of it.
You can't name one thing. You can't
No,
name one thing.
specifically
See?
the Book
So-
of John in the original Greek.
Weak argument. That's weak.
Weak argument. Okay.
Name a verse.
Name a verse.
Well, what?
No, it's not one singular verse. That's the problem. The Bible is a bunch.
Name something.
Motherfucker, listen.
I did.
No, we're asking
The
him.
Book of John in the original Greek. This,
All right, how
like
did
I
it
was
read the
there.
word?
This is what he told me.
Okay, so here's the first thing you should know.
I'll put this down for now. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, she appreciates that.
The thing about when you go into biblical translation, which is what I was going to go into, you study Greek, you start working on it yourself, you realize that everything, all of the new translations since the KJV that have been popular are actually still based on the format of the KJV. Like, they don't break from that format, and that changes how they talk about things and how they interpret things within the Bible. And if you take it out of that KJV format and actually just interpret it word for word as it is, you don't get the same shit. And so for 2,000, or however long the KJV has been around, for that long, people have been using the wrong ideas in Christianity. Because the KJV isn't just the KJV, the NIV is based on the KJV, the ESV is based on the KJV.
The underlying syntax and structure.
It's all based on KJV, and you can't change it. They won't let you. They tried to publish a couple of different translations
the
that weren't.
NEB and the REB.
The
such
NEB
good
and the REB, they
translations.
tried to break away, but nobody bought those Bibles because it didn't sound the same.
That's why people don't like the message, because it doesn't follow the.
Well, the message is a whole
structure.
different made-up thing.
It is, but.
But, yeah.
some of
We
the
agree on something there.
structure.
Yeah. But the KJV structure is what defines a lot of the major Christian belief systems. If you take away those things that the KJV fucked up, you're left with a lot of questions.
So what are
Why do you say the KJV fucked it up?
Because
translated it wrong.
that's what I just said. The whole point is that the KJV was so popular that it ruined every Bible translation for the next couple hundred years.
Yeah, but where's your evidence?
I have tons of books. You can have my books. I don't need them.
You just give me some evidence. I mean, you won't give me.
He just did.
That's
You
what
just
I,
A bunch of books?
stuff, but there's
That doesn't really.
like against the King James version.
The original Greek translations
It's
are not
different.
the
Yeah,
King
that's
James version.
That's my evidence.
Where?
Is I
The
studied-
original books. That is where.
Okay, well, let's start
Talking about
let's start in John.
the
Start
divinity of Jesus.
in John,
There
the
you go.
first verse in John.
Okay.
Okay, so blah 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 blah. What the phrase is in the original Greek is not, and Jesus was God. It's Jesus.
And the word was God.
And the word
Yeah.
was God. The word was made of the same stuff as God. It's a different connotation in the original Greek that gets misconstrued in the KJV and continually misconstrued because the KJV version was so popular.
Now, was that coming out of the Textus Receptus, or was that the Alexandrian text? Because-
Just the Texas.
Because that's not right, and I know that for a fact.
You know that for a fact?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I know many people that have told me. And
Many people
studied
have
it.
told you.
Yes, studied
You
it.
learned Greek and translated that yourself.
Not quite. I'm about.
There's
I
a
am
guy
trying.
here that teaches Greek, Mark Clark. He's fantastic.
He's a great guy.
Like, apart from me being an asshole, I do suggest him. He's a great guy.
I got you. But it's still not true.
That's fine. You tell that to
You
Mark Clark.
teach yourself Greek and then check it yourself.
And the religion professor agreed with me on my translation. He's the one who did my...
Bisson?
Yeah, Bisson.
But I don't. But other than I guess First John chapter 1, like what in the Bible proved to you that there is no God?
Yeah, you said the whole Bible. So what
That's
else?
what I've yet to hear.
Okay, but before you were like, you can't even name one thing, and okay, we'll name another
Well,
thing.
that didn't really touch.
Goalposts, Amanda.
Yeah.
It's called
That
moving
is
the
a
goalposts.
philosophical fallacy.
Congratulations, you've been doing it all this whole time. But specifically, I'm not sure that John chapter 1 proves that there is no God, but...
No. John chapter 1 was the beginning of my question.
Okay.
Right? So John chapter 1 was the beginning of me going, hey, this isn't actually what I've been told this whole time, so I'm going to figure out everything I can and see, like, you know, if all these pastors and preachers have been lying to me, and let's find out if they've been lying about other things. Turns out they were...
Okay, I still have yet to hear what proved to you that there was no God.
You don't care.
No, I'm listening. He has yet to answer that question that I've heard.
Yeah, just the Bible makes no sense in general as a whole. There is no unifying message. It's all made up. It's all made up by people. If you think about the multiple councils of Nicaea that happened, it's a whole mess of people that just wanted political power. Do you think that those people who wanted political power are any different than the people in Washington, D.C. who want political power now that are using religion to get what they want? If you think that they are, then you're fucking wrong.
You're ancient Greek or modern Greek?
This is the original Greek.
You just read it in the
Yes.
original Greek?
You read it. Yes.
You translated
Personally.
it.
No, it translated.
It translated it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it turns out there's a lot of subtlety in ancient languages.
Right. And that's what you got. That's what you got.
Right. Subtlety, nuance, complexity. Something that's lost you.
Guess that's what they put in.
But ultimately, more than a lot of things that we talked about today is we care about your souls. Ultimately.
Okay, and then we said we'll accept that judgment and we don't care.
Well, you don't have to care about what we do, and we want you to join us in heaven. That's the most important matter.
I don't think
So,
you
like,
want me in
why
heaven.
can't you
Yeah, actually, I do.
like, accept that some people say no? Like, you can't. No does actually mean no. It doesn't mean, okay, try again.
I'm just telling you that we want you to join us in heaven. You can say no all day long if you want.
I will, absolutely.
But you're not saying no to us, you're saying no to Jesus Christ. And what you need to know is that if you do die in your sins,
I'm gonna go to hell and be separated from God eternally.
no second chances, no relief. And you cannot
Yeah,
say...
that's a punishment that makes a lot of sense. An eternity
Wait,
of
I mean, they
punishment
don't have to be
for
people
maybe
like-
40 years on Earth. God's real fair. God's
So
a
what?
good God.
So wait. So are you acknowledging God's existence right there by saying that He's real fair?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm making fun of the whole system of belief that you have.
Based on, but how are you making any judgment there? Because you're an atheist. You have no standard to make any kind of judgment, right?
I do have standards.
But what standard do you have to judge anything as an
Basic
atheist?
human morality. It actually comes from evolution. We have a lot of proof of this from bonobos. Bonobos are a really, really fun thing to study. They do a lot of kind and nice things, and we have evidence of them feeding their elderly and
It's
taking
not just
care of...
bonobos. It is like across. It's not in the reptilian lineages, but within the mammalian lineages, compassion has been something that has been selected for. And we have a lot of evidence of like there is no real reason why this elephant should be leading this blind elephant around, but they do. And so like we do have some genetic propensity for compassion.
Well, what about people like Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy? They think it's okay to rape people, murder them, cannibalize them. So
Yeah, exceptions to the rule don't disprove the rule.
Yeah.
so what's that?
I said exceptions to the rule don't disprove the rule.
There's also genes.
But who's to say they're wrong and you're right?
Me. Actually.
You. But what standard do you have? You're no standard.
My own personal one. And so that's the thing. I would like to follow my own personal belief structure, but people like you can't mind your fucking
Yeah, but
business.
what's wrong with this?
Huh?
What's wrong with that?
What's
They
wrong?
can do whatever they want.
What's
Don't
wrong
try
with?
to get it put in government?
Yeah, but you said they were wrong.
Well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy or Jeffrey Dahmer or what's
infringing the rights of others.
well
by murdering them.
what's wrong with that? Do all you profess to be atheists?
They're moral.
Well, do all you profess to be atheists? I don't want to assume.
Yeah, me.
You do.
100%.
Do you profess to be atheist too? You are? Okay, and you?
You are created by yeah.
Are you all professing atheists?
In the terms of your definition,
Well-
God, an atheist is your God,
Well, atheism basically means that there is no God, the belief there is no God. I just don't want to assume that you all
I think we're in a simulation. I think there is a God. I think he's a crusty programmer in a basement.
But the point is, as a professing atheist, what standard do you have to make any judgment? What's wrong with what Adolf Hitler did? What's wrong with Adolf Hitler murdering millions of people? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with what we're doing and your worldview?
Your belief in a book the only thing that keeps you from murdering a bunch of people like Hitler?
What I'm saying is, what's wrong with what anyone does? What's wrong with Adolf Hitler murdering millions of people in your atheistic worldview? What standard do you have to say that Hitler was wrong, or John Wayne Gacy was wrong?
He can murder people all he wants up until he murders someone. That's infringing on their right to be alive.
But what standard do you have in your atheistic worldview to say that he was wrong?
Do you think that ethics and morals don't exist without a God?
There's no God, there are no morals, right?
Okay. That's an interesting thought.
I have yet to hear any standard you have that says that what this person did was wrong. We have a standard of Jesus Christ.
Different. We can have morals without a God. You think you can't have morals?
No, you're stealing from the worldview of God, from God, because He put His 10 Commandments on your heart.
Appropriating my worldview from God.
The worldview, the morals you have are the 10 Commandments, the law of God written on your heart.
See, the ancient Jewish people appropriated their morals from the ancient Babylonians. So you're a little messed up.
No.
So the ancient Babylonians are the ones that made up the rules that the ancient Jews followed in the Old
What's that?
Testament.
But you have a bankrupt worldview, and you're stealing from the Christian worldview.
It's the same things.
Well,
bankrupt worldview. I've heard that a million times.
Well, maybe you should listen. You do. You have a bankrupt worldview apart from Jesus Christ, saying, "Well, this person's wrong or that person's wrong." Well, how do you know? And how do you know that your worldview is better than theirs? It's just your opinion.
Consensus that says don't kill other people.
Well, the general
Unless
consensus.
they have oil.
The general consensus in chattel slavery was that it was okay to beat black people to death.
Yeah. And you know who had the general consensus? White Christian males who should have minded their fucking business.
Well, yeah, you fit the white male, but not the Christian. Although you said you used to profess to be a Christian. But no, that was most America, not just white males. That was most America. That said, these people have no rights. Do whatever you want to them. Adolf Hitler, that was a consensus in Nazi Germany. So it's not always just a consensus saying, well, most people believe this, so therefore that's what's right. Yeah, you may have some cultures where they think it's okay to cannibalize people. You see, when you...
Wait, talking about cannibalism, what are your thoughts on a mutually consenting cannibalism? That baby Syrian video?
Yeah.
Like if I said it's
That guy in
okay-
Germany who...
Yeah.
This guy in Germany, he was like, hey, I want to eat somebody. And somebody's just like, hey, I want to be eaten. Anyway, the guy in Germany ate the other guy, went to jail. What do you think about that?
Well, it's murder.
No, I don't think he actually murdered the guy. It was murder.
No,
They just cut out a little piece of his ass cheek and ate it, like for real.
Okay, that's what people do when they're insane.
It's weird.
That's what fools do.
But if it's mutually consensual, no rights are being infringed, he shouldn't be in jail.
Why? In your world, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying why in your worldview?
It's not a worldview.
Yeah, you do. Your worldview frames what you think and believe about everything.
They mean that things can't exist without God, and that includes morals, ethics, and things like that.
None of you would be here without God. None of us, nobody out here would be here without God. This all exists because God is a creator of all.
So the kid dying of cancer in the hospital, that's God?
Well, what's wrong with that in your worldview, in your atheistic worldview?
What's wrong with kids dying of cancer?
In your atheistic worldview, what's wrong with that?
Spirit.
You're saying there's something wrong with that, but as an atheist, you have no worldview to say that's wrong. You don't. You have to give me a standard.
It's called empathy. I know it's a questionable thing for a lot of white Christian males in America.
No, it's a questionable thing for an atheist.
Exists, and you can feel bad for other people without being those people.
Well, should I feel bad for those people? And if so, why?
That's the thing.
We can't explain to you how it works.
I'm saying, no, hold on. I'm saying, in your atheistic worldview, why should I feel bad for anybody? Why should you feel bad for anybody?
This is sans atheism, sans Christianity. I just care about other people.
But why?
It's a part of who I am as a person. And it's actually genetic. We talked about that earlier.
Well, as an atheist, why care about anybody? Why not, hope that people die and just die?
Why do you assume that atheists just don't care about anything?
No, I didn't say you don't care. I'm saying, why do you care? Why care about anything at all?
Because I do, naturally, genetically. again, we've already said this.
And that's part of God's image, that you're made in God's image. That's evidence that you're made in God's image.
I would be murdering me.
The fact that you're made in God's image, that's why you care about the people.